Even have years of unfiled tax returns. There's no need to live in fear, but you have to call the Community Tax Helpline. Do not take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even go after your Social Security check.
Call Community Tax today, 800-651-0074. To end your tax troubles, call 800-651-0074. Get a free consultation. Call 800-651-0074.
Not take on the IRS alone.
10074.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got it right near 5 points. Andrew Jackson.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome in. This is your little pre-show video that we like to try to get out sometimes if we're running ahead of schedule. That means everything has to be in line for us before we start our show, and we are. So welcome into our little pre-show video here on Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. This is just a chance for us to say good morning and remind you that if you want to be a part of the show, it's simple, it's easy. Hey, guys, all you got to do is send in your comments or your questions right in there on the comment line, and we will get to them as the show goes along. So it's that simple. So just send us in your questions and your comments there. We have got a lot to get to. The one thing that we do want to talk about is Tim Tebow making a return to the NFL. Your thoughts on Tim Tebow returning to the NFL. You can also give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We welcome your phone calls this morning. We welcome your thoughts, your opinions this morning. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. We got some football recruiting news and notes to go over. NCAA basketball does make a rule change. We got to talk about that this morning. UAH Charger baseball, minor league baseball's back. Are athletes waiting now until June 1st to make a commitment? What did the commitments look like from a year ago versus now as far as football commitments go, as far as recruiting? Another SEC school announces a full house for college baseball this weekend. Spring football is back, professional spring football. Drew loves spring football, so we got to talk to him about that. Justin Ross comments on transferring via Twitter. What's his thoughts there? Man, we got a lot of stuff to get to. Now, you're going to hear all of me go over this all over again once we draw in with our radio audience, and that is exactly where we're going now. Let's meet
DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, I'm rolling. Here we go. With that, we say welcome in to another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. What a show it's going to be this morning. We've got a lot of stuff to get to on a chilly start to your Tuesday morning. This little cloud cover, this coolness has got to go. I know by the end of the week we're going to be up there mid-70s and 80s. It cannot get here soon enough because tonight, for the first time since 2014, you do get minor league baseball back here in the Rocket City. For the first time since 2014. Think about that. Joe Davis Stadium used to be a fantastic place. Nothing better than turning right there on Don Mincher Road, Don Mincher Way, leading on up into Joe Davis Stadium, going and watching the Stars play. When Joe Davis was full, 4th of July, when I first got here, there were like 4 days that you would want to go to. 4th of July for the fireworks. WHNT always had Mayberry days. Remember that? They always had, and Joe Davis would be packed. 48 used to give away baseball bats, like legitimate wood-sized Louisville Slugger baseball bats. 31 always had a night. And then 4th of July. It was like, I remember when I first got here, going to the Joe was so spectacular. It was so much fun to go watch minor league baseball. We haven't had it since 2014. The Rocket City Trash Pandas back at home tonight, 6:35 first pitch.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. Certainly, it's going to be nostalgic. Looking forward to having the boys home for the first time. And they had a little bit of a rough start in Chattanooga, going 2-4 on the road. But no place like home, as the old movie said. So, 7,000-seat stadium should be standing room only. Of course, you're going to have to wear a mask tonight if you're not eating or drinking. But still, they're going to have a full crowd, which is great. I mean, spectacular. It's a lot better than what's going on in Nashville and some other places. And so
just bring a jacket, though.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to. It's going to be in the 50s. I mean, I left the house. The emergency heat was on again, okay? I know we have the emergency heat diaries now, but it was on again. So it was chilly all day yesterday.
Yes.
There was like a river in my backyard. And so
still,
yeah, it was still drying out. So, and it stayed chilly the rest of the day. So trust me. And if you look at the weather, that's going to be the pendulum you're going to be swinging on, because by the time the sun goes down each and every day this week, it's going to definitely be long sleeves weather. Yeah. So please dress appropriately.
All right, 256-576-4977. I mean, if you want to talk about some memories of Joe Davis Stadium and some minor league baseball, you can most definitely hop on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Or if you just want to talk about anything sports related, 256-576-4977. Welcome everybody on Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube channels. You can also find us on Twitter at 977ESPN. We keep moving along with the sports world. And Drew, you do mention that it will be a full house tonight at Toyota Field for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And good news, yesterday we were talking Tennessee baseball with Vince Ferrara and how electric their season has been, how many runs they've scored in their last few games. I mean, it's just an offensive onslaught. To help matters this weekend, they're taking on number 1 Arkansas. They've expanded it to a full capacity crowd for this weekend at Tennessee. But
good job.
They're playing tonight. Okay, they're playing tonight. They have to go limited capacity tonight. I know, it doesn't make any sense. Well, and what I'm about to tell you doesn't make any more sense than this. So they have limited capacity tonight, I guess, because they couldn't get it announced or ready for full capacity for this evening. They have a non-conference game tonight. But if Tennessee is allowed to host an NCAA regional, yes, they are full capacity now, but the NCAA says you can only have 50% capacity for tournament games. So they would have to go back to 50% capacity if they host an NCAA regional.
Mark Emmert again. Comes out, checks his shadow. Joe left him a voicemail, so he's saying 50% capacity. He and Dr. Dummy. But anyway, that's just stupid. I mean, that is the NCAA in a nutshell. It really is. Yep. Just morons. Another Moron of the Day award for the NC Double Dumb, who passes another idiotic, mandate. Just stupid. I mean, these guys, they wouldn't know when to get in out of the rain.
So there's a lot of college baseball venues across the country that are full capacity right now.
That are going to go to 50%.
That have to go back. Yep.
If they host a regional, because they're morons. It's called a vaccine. I mean, it's been out for a reason, and it's being advertised everywhere. So why are you doing this? I mean, and still wearing a mask. Why are you doing this? Oh, tell people they either vaccinated or wear a mask, and then let them have a full crowd. It's absolutely asinine and stupid. It better be by the fall. That's all I'm saying. Get your heads out of your asses and get moving. That's all I'm saying, NCAA. Get your heads out of your asses and get moving, you schmucks.
256-576-4977. That is how
Dump Man.
we start the show on this Tuesday morning. And let's go to Dump Man on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, sir.
How you doing, Dump Man? We got you.
We got to figure out the phones.
Hey,
hey man, what's going on, Dump Man? How you doing?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. Just driving Dump Boy to school right now.
All right.
Hey, you talking about Joe Davis Stadium, man, about the memories or whatever. So one of my favorite memories was going there and, like, blowing the bathroom up and them having all the hot dog condiments right by the bathroom.
Huh.
How sanitary was that?
Oh, well,
That was true. I remember. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
I just thought people washed their hands when they got done there and they wanted to go throw some onions on a big fat chili dog. But I'll tell you what, though, the best thing, though, was the Thirsty Thursday. And I've talked to you guys about it before. I used to drink probably like 20 beers, and I'd have all the empty cups stacked like a wizard staff, walking around like a badge of honor. It was so much fun.
well,
that was dollar. I think were those dollar beers? I think they were.
Well, I'd like to ask you, Dump Man, who drove you home, sir?
Well, I mean, I had a ride, man.
I mean, come on, because we didn't have, Lyft and all this other kind of stuff and Uber back then. So
I had people, man. I planned for that, but then afterwards we'd go hit up the Applebee's. They'd have like dollar highlights. Oh, you know who drove me home? I'll tell you. Rat Cephas drove me home.
Oh, there you go.
Anyways, guys, that's my memories. The cheap beer and then the hot dog condiments by the crapper room.
Well,
yeah, I remember the cheap beer nights.
Yeah, we do remember. You've mentioned on more than one occasion the Thirsty Thursdays.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, man.
Thank you, brother.
Got to take it out.
Thirsty Thursdays were always a big
Floyd.
night there. Floyd now joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Floyd.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Floyd.
This morning, like I said before, I didn't grow up in this area. Down closer to Birmingham and Jasper, but I was fortunate enough to get to go to minor league games at Rickwood Field.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There you go. There's some memories.
And at that time they were a Oakland A's affiliate.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, I mean, even the A's would come there and play. Got to see Reggie Jackson and all those guys. That was a great time. That was a great time. And I just talking of the minor league stadium opening up here now. It just brought back a lot of memories of going there and man, it was awesome. I know they still play there, I think, once a year, but
yeah, they do the Rickwood Classic there, and the Birmingham Barons play one game a year there. And I remember, gosh, I want to say it may have been when Prince Fielder and company was here.
Yeah.
I think the Stars played down there. I think I went down there. I was there for one Rickwood Classic, and I can't exactly remember when it was, but the Stars played in it. And if you've not had a chance to see it, man, it is a fantastic nostalgia. If you love baseball, it's something you got to watch.
I've seen high school baseball there, not professional, but it is a historic place, no doubt about it, in Montgomery and
it's in Birmingham.
Or Birmingham, I'm sorry. And I've also been to Patterson Field in Montgomery, which is another historic place. That's where I saw high school baseball. My apologies there. But yeah, I've been to Rickwood. I haven't seen a game there, but I have been to Rickwood Field and walked through it and been. But again, they're both historic places, no doubt about it. And I think also, Floyd, it just goes to show you, even back in those days, of course, Charlie Finley in the 70s, the A's were a powerhouse. The A's were really good when they were with the Stars. I just think it all started turning when they switched to the Milwaukee Brewers. And I just always felt like, I know that the plan was to get a National League team closer to Huntsville, but the whole point for me, when you're signing up with an organization, is the ideal thing. If you can't get a Southeastern type team, which is nearly impossible to get the Braves or someone like that, I would want an organization that I knew built through the minor leagues, because that way, you're going to see they're not going to trade all their talent away. In other words, at least until it gets to the big leagues. And if they draft well, you're going to see all the studs come through. And that's why I like the Oakland organization, because they've never been considered a large market, so they build through the draft.
Right. One of the most exciting players that I ever saw come through Birmingham was and he hit for power and he was Claudell Washington.
Yeah, there you go.
He was exciting to watch, especially when he was coming up through the ranks. But yeah, that just brought back a lot of memories. So that's good. I was gonna tell you too. I've got a theory about Mr. Jeff from the borough and why he's in such a bad mood all the time.
Why is that?
Oh,
Well,
boy.
he he's a fan of the Cubs.
Yeah.
He is a alumni, he says, of the Blue Raiders of and he's a big of the Big Blue Nation in Kentucky. There's something about this blue color and his outlook on everything, because everything he sees is blue. It's like he's, I don't know if he's battling depression or what, but man, it's crazy.
He's an ornery fella, that is for sure.
But anyway,
all right. Thanks, Floyd.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it, Floyd.
Jason.
All right, Jason is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Jason.
Morning, fellas. Hey, I can remember, I think it was like a year when the Stars first started there, and they had the team. They had Terry Steinbach, Walt Weiss, Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, what was it? Stan Javier in the outfield.
That's right. Yep.
And I'm leaving somebody off that played for the A's, and they won all the ball games. But, I mean, that was good baseball back then.
Yeah, it certainly was.
You go to a ball game and it'd be like 17-2 by the fifth inning. It wasn't even competitive. And I can't even remember some. They had great pitchers on that team too. It was unreal. Yeah, the promotion night, what Scott said, they had bat night. You couldn't get a seat in that place.
Yeah, I remember when Todd Van Poppel basically was considered unsignable, and then the A's drafted him around the middle of the first round and then signed him. He never developed into the dominant pitcher that everybody thought he was in the big leagues. He did get up to the big leagues, but it was still great to have him here.
Scott Brocious was a name.
Yeah, another Scott Brocious. Yeah, he made a big-time name for himself near the end with the Yankees. Of course, I'm not a big Yankee guy, but supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Say that 3 times fast.
And Tim Hudson was a former Huntsville Star.
Yeah, Tim Hudson also came through here.
Yeah, do you remember when Mark McGuire started out, and when he was at Huntsville, he was playing third base, and the ball was sailed over to first baseman's head, and that's why he got moved to first base?
I do remember that he played third when he was here. Wasn't here long due to his talent, but certainly was here playing for Huntsville.
Yeah, he would launch that ball, and you'd go to the ball games, and you wanted to be on the first base side, and he would just launch them in the stands. But not all of it, but he had several. Before long, he was the first baseman after his throwing errors.
Yeah.
That was a skinny Mark McGuire, though, too, right?
That was early in his career.
Real skinny. Yeah, real skinny. He didn't hit the home runs like Jose did at Park. Jose was hitting some, out there on where the kids play, the Southern Adventure.
Yeah.
He was half them out there now.
Didn't they call him a Parkway Jose? Wasn't that his nickname here? Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Jose, I remember that now. It definitely was. Yeah, I hope they have the good promotion, and maybe they'll give them good ball players in their first year.
Yeah, I hope so. They've got some good young talent with Anaheim, and now they're kind of transitioning with Pujols at the end of his career.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good morning.
All right. Thanks, Jason. All right. Who we got next, right?
Nobody.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I thought he was okay. But anyway, so, you look at this list. Ryan Braun was with the Brewers, a former Star. Lorenzo Cain, Eddie Chavez, Nelson Cruz, Prince Fielder, Jason Giambi, Ben Grieve, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Ricky Weeks
came through here. Ricky Weeks came
Mark.
through here. All right, let's get Mark now real fast on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, driving home from work, guys, but I couldn't resist some Stars nostalgia. it was towards the end of which year it was, but there was a glorious day that it was a thirsty Thursday and 4th of July.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
The
wow.
same day?
Wow.
Yeah, it got epic because that was when people had kind of stopped going. So you could go to the left field bleachers and take a 20 spot with you, and by the time the fireworks came, you were mesmerized.
You were seeing double fireworks.
Oh yeah, I was seeing a lot of stuff. Basically, I was sitting there thinking, this is glorious. Why can't we do this every day? Turns out that's a rare occurrence.
I remember a lot of I remembered 4th of July because the Stars didn't have a 4th of July. They had the 3rd. And what was special, though, was because people wouldn't go to the ball game. They would pull along the parkway, and they would stop at like 8 o'clock or 8:30 at night just to watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
And so the police were like trying to keep people moving along the parkway because people were stopping to camp out to watch the Stars fireworks on the 4th.
Well, you got to understand, there was also a time where Huntsville was not as progressive as it was now.
Yeah.
As far as like fixing up the city and stuff like that. And there were some rough spots, but people they would just pull over and watch it. And really at that time, like the Stars had been there for a while, so nobody really batted an eye. Anyways, I wanted to share that one with you, the 4th of July on the
Thursday.
Thursday. And then I also do have some sports-related topics.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stick with me as far as the Braves go. We'll stick with the baseball team. The pitching is still got to get worked out, but I'm seeing positive signs from the offense. What do y'all think about that?
As far as from a Braves perspective?
Yeah. He's seeing positive signs of the offense. Pitching still needs to work out, but the offense coming along.
There's been some positive signs. Freddie Freeman certainly looks like he's getting locked in with his swing. And definitely going to get rolling. I've seen some good stuff out of Ozzie Albies, of course, Acuna, if people would stop throwing at him. But I think that it's going to be key for Max Fried to continue to round into form. Ynoa has been unbelievable. He's really been the best they've had. Hopefully Morton, being a veteran, I mean, this is a guy who's been 13, 14 years in the big leagues, is going to settle down and start giving them, 6 solid innings. Now, I think it was good to sign Shane Green and try to get him rounded into form. They need some more depth in the bullpen because Anthopoulos kind of botched that. They finally got a win from the worst free agent signing in the offseason, Drew Smiley. He finally actually won a game, so maybe that was a time to have $1 beers because he finally won something. Hopefully, I mean, that it'll get better, but I do think the pitching is going to round into form. They've got too many good ones, and if can keep doing what he's doing, but they do need d'Arnaud back. I mean, I do like Contreras as a young catcher, but d'Arnaud's a veteran that can hit. And of course, it's going to be another probably at least a month before they get him back, but still, there is some positive things going on. And one thing too, even with all these struggles, the division is a cluster. Nobody has separated themselves, and so I still think the Braves have got as good a shot as any.
Okay, quick follow-up question. I'll leave y'all guys with this. I appreciate your time, by the way.
No problem.
So, early trade talk. Do we address the starting pitching, or at this point, I know things change, do we address the starting pitching or the bullpen the most?
Well,
they've already addressed the bullpen, though. Didn't they get by getting Shane Green?
Well, that's just one guy, but I still think and Chris Martin's got to get healthy. We really didn't talk about Chris Martin. It just depends on where Soroka is and if they think they can get him back effective at some point in the season. If they don't, then I think they would look for a starter. One of the most encouraging things that I've seen, even from the start of the season, and he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but it was just the way he was swinging the bat and his pitch recognition. I'm really liking the progress Austin Riley's making. I think Chipper Jones has done a great job with him. I already thought he was a good defensive player. If he comes into his own, then I think that the Braves will be in really strong shape. Honestly, though, I know we're talking about offense. I still think it's going to come down to maybe adding a bat. because Pache may get sent back down because he's hitting 110. I know he's really good defensively, but he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat right now. And he's a little bit overmatched, and Ender has been hurt and ineffective. I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to try to get a bat. And Scott, a lot of conversation is about your boy, Chris Bryant.
Well, yeah,
with
because
the Cubs.
he and Chris, Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant are in their final years
Yeah.
of their contracts. And
now we know the Braves won't be looking for Rizzo. They got Freddie Freeman, but
right.
Chris Bryant is a dude. You could even put him in left field. He doesn't necessarily have to play the infield. If Austin Riley is, well,
the Cubs are in a cost-saving team right now. They're in a cost-cutting move
because everybody's wondering.
So you're not going to keep both.
Well,
so they're going to keep Rizzo.
Are they going to sell? Or are they going to, try to contend?
The Cubs are 17-17. The Braves are 17-17.
Yeah.
The difference between the divisions: the Braves are a game and a half out of first. The Cubs are 3.5 games out of first. So that is how.
I mean, this will be a couple months.
East,
this will be a few months down the road. But Chris Bryant, and this is not just by the Braves, he'll be somebody that a lot of teams are interested in.
Yes. All right. But it's worth noting that his agent, though, is Scott Boras.
Well, yeah.
So whatever you get for him is going to be a king's ransom. I mean, you're going to have to give up a king's ransom or sign.
It'll be a king's ransom for the salary.
Yes.
Whoever signs him.
Yes. All right. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we got to talk some SEC softball.
Kayla Braud, SEC softball analyst, coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on the Parkway northbound on top of the Drake overpass. Got about 5 vehicles involved. Move to the right to get around that one. Your best bet, though, is to head for the access road right now. Andrew Jackson and Oakwood, they're waiting on a couple of records for that one. Watch for bridge work. 31 over I-65. They'll have a detour in place there. Routine care to heart failure. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Doctor visits are important. Please don't put them off. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Here's a list of what we have. The Crimson Tide Sports Network, the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, Madison Academy Football, UAH Basketball, the SEC Radio Network, the College Football National Championship Game, the SEC Football Championship Game, NBA Playoffs, MLB Playoffs, and that's just the starting lineup. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That fact is important for you to know.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN.
Kayla is ready. Mike's on. Hi, and welcome back to Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Indeed, and this year's SEC softball tournament gets underway starting today. Yep. There, I guess you could say I don't want to say your playing game, but is your 12 seed versus your 13th seed, and that is Auburn versus South Carolina today at 6 p.m. on the SEC Network. The winner of that game advances to take on 5th seed LSU there in the SEC softball tournament.
Yes, it does. It's going to be a great event in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at the Rhodes House. Really probably going to be the preeminent softball event in collegiate softball due to the fact that the SEC really has now established itself year in and year out as the top softball conference in America. And we are honored to be joined on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. She's joined us in the past, and now I guess she could be considered a grizzled veteran of broadcasting. She's been with ESPN and the SEC Network since their inception, and really been doing softball broadcasting for ESPN since 2014. She was a 3-time All-American at Alabama from 2010 to 2013, and a national champion in 2012. And of course, we're talking about Kayla Braud, and she is with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kayla, is grizzled veteran a good term now for you in broadcasting?
Hey, I like it. That was like one of the best intros that I've ever had on a radio show, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I mean, we always enjoy your analysis and your work, and you're very close to the game still of softball. Just an overview. I was just looking at the bracket and looking at the field and kind of getting a feel for the records of these teams. What we've seen lately, the last few years in the SEC, before the stoppage of last year, is all 13 of these teams would be getting NCAA bids. It looks like to me, though, going in, that 12 probably feel pretty good, but South Carolina's got some work to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think 12 is a no-brainer. And we actually talked to Mickey Dean at Auburn yesterday, who probably has one of the closer records, and they feel really good about going to the postseason. They're well above 500, and they will be by the end of the tournament no matter what. And they have 7 wins in the SEC. I think, obviously, South Carolina is the question mark, only getting 4 wins in conference play. Typically, that number has been around 6 historically, but you kind of throw that out the window a little bit this year. And, I think there's an outside shot that they make it, because there's just so many different things happening this year. They've eliminated the requirement for a 500 to make the postseason, to make the NCAA tournament, that is. And you have like a different story with somebody like the Big Ten, who doesn't play out of conference at all. So it's kind of an interesting conundrum for the selection show this year.
Yeah, how's that going to work? Taking the Big Ten that didn't play a non-conference game, and you look at some of the schedules that the SEC played, a lot of big-time non-conference matchups there, especially, Georgia beating Oklahoma earlier this year. If you're the committee, how do you take that into consideration?
No, it's going to be really interesting. I look at something like an LSU, and they have one of the toughest strength of schedule since like 2007. Like, they've played a rigorous schedule. So how do you compare somebody like that to a team maybe like Minnesota that's finishing, second or third in the Big Ten, that really is only played in their conference? And I think from top to bottom, the Big Ten is just not as good. So I think the committee, unfortunately, is going to have to look at the eye test a lot. They're going to have to watch a film, but that also leads way to favoring teams like the SEC, because we're on TV every single weekend.
Yeah, that's a great point. Going in, I know you've studied the bracket a lot. Which teams in your mind should feel really good about hosting right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have at the top, I think Arkansas is going to get their top 8 seed for the first time, which is really cool in school history. Florida's going to host. Alabama's going to host. I think Missouri is going to host. And then I think LSU and Kentucky could also be top 16 teams, with maybe an outside chance for Tennessee. And they've all been approved for host site this year anyway. So they're already primed and ready to go for it, because they selected 20 teams that could potentially host, and those teams all made that list.
Yeah, that's the thing too. They also doing that a little bit differently as well. I mean, they've already picked 20 teams that could host. I believe, 18?
Yeah,
that actually will host.
Well, it'll be 16
or 16. My bad. Yeah, 16 of the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting postseason and something a little different. But again, I think with all the strength of the RPI for the SEC and the strength of schedules they put out, I think there's going to be a good chance for a lot of them. do get that top 16 seed.
Yeah, and talk about Arkansas. What a rise, under Courtney Deifel. I mean, she's probably going to be Coach of the Year. She should be. I mean, this is the first championship. I know they tied Florida to the 2 seed, but it's been a remarkable turnaround for them. They've been in historically one of the schools that was in the bottom third of the seedings, and now they've risen to the top of the league. I think it's one of those things where we talk about the SEC, why it's the strongest league in the country.
I mean, it's really an incredible story, and I love listening to Coach Deifel talk about it because the belief that she got her kids to buy into, her system, her culture, she built that from the ground up because really Arkansas didn't have any kind of winning history, any kind of winning culture at that school. I mean, I even go back not that long ago to when I played, 2010 to 2013, and that was like automatic sweep, like no doubt you're going to go into Arkansas, they're going to come to you, and it's a win on the weekend. And to take a program like that, who was kind of the doormat of the SEC for so long, to in her short time of 5 years to turn them into a championship caliber team, that's so tough to overcome. Years of being the bottom, having to recruit, having to get players in to say, you know what, we're changing this program around. Do you want to be a part of that? And them saying yes, and then getting some big time transfers. I can't say enough about the job that Courtney Deifel's done and how impressed I am with her style of coaching, and the way that she's gotten her kids to buy into that program.
Well, with that being said, then what are the expectations then for Arkansas? I mean, it's great to be where you're at now. But is it one of those things now where they're the 2 seed? Now they need to take that step further and, let's say, get to the finals of the SEC tournament?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great weekend for them. And the reason is, they didn't play Florida this season. So being in that 1 and 2 spot, it's going to be really interesting to see if they match up at some point. That would mean that they have to get through Alabama. But I think it's a good test for Arkansas to be an elimination, must-win situations, because they've done a good job of managing their season so far and winning as many series as they have and sweeping teams. But, what's that pressure like when you're in an elimination game? Your pitcher has to go out there and perform. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for them to get prepped for the postseason with a little bit of a target on their back, which they're absolutely not used to. But I think if they have 2 good pitchers in Mary Half and Autumn Storms has been questionable whether she's been healthy or not. If she's healthy, I think they got a chance to make the champ series, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question there. Arkansas has been one of the stories. And then the other one for me, as far as being a top 4 seed and getting the double bye, is Missouri and Larissa Anderson. They have been a team that, if you wanted to say maybe that has improved the most, Kayla, from the start of the season to this point.
Oh, man, they can hit. They're such a fun team to watch. They might not be as strong as they are in the circle, or as strong as they could be in the circle compared to some other SEC teams, but their offense is so fun to watch. They have really, really good at-bats. They have tons of power. They have dynamic, they have some speed threats. They have some power threats. They have some average threats throughout the lineup that just make them really enjoyable to watch, honestly, and they're veterans. You can tell when they approach the plate. You have players like Brooke Wilmus, who's been the leadoff, feels like forever there. Kayla Kessinger, who's a 5th year, that has a ton of experience. Kim Ward, who transferred from Hofstra, that is now one of the better hitters in the SEC. It's really, really cool to see what Larissa Anderson has done for them. And, she's another one like Coach Deifel, where you get her on the phone for a conference call and you just want to go put the cleats on and go play for her because she gets you fired up.
Well, let's talk about the host team. Alabama earns the 3 seed coming into this one. They get to play at home, something where Patrick Murphy and company are very comfortable in doing.
Yeah, the only host to ever win the SEC tournament, Kayla.
Yes, I was there. It was a pretty amazing experience to do that. I remember, at Rhodes Stadium, there's on top of the dugouts, there's a platform, and I remember getting up there and standing and holding the trophy in front of the crowd. It was a very, very fond memory of mine. I love the tournament for that reason. I think it's a championship opportunity for these kids. But no, I think Alabama, despite everything that's happened to them this year, I've been so impressed with their resolve and their fight, because they could have thrown in the towel a long time ago. I mean, they're down a pitcher right now. hopefully we see Lexi Boyle this week. They're down 2 shortstops. They're down 2 of their best hitters in Claire Jenkins and Bailey Dowling. They finally got Jenna Johnson back, but they're a depleted team. And despite that, they're still on like a 10-game win streak right now. Like Montana Fouts, she's like, I'll put the team on my back. We're going to take you to the World Series. That's how I feel about what she's doing right now. So it's really impressive that despite the fact that they've got hit by the injury bug so badly, they're still one of the top teams in the SEC. And I think they actually would have been the top team in the SEC if they would have been healthy 100% of the year. But that didn't happen. And so I was really impressed with how Coach Murphy has rallied the team, and they still look like a very good championship caliber team down the line.
Well, and Kayla, I just watching Montana Fouts, and she's been a 4-time pitcher of the week in the SEC. So many, 10+ strikeout games. She's really starting to remind me of your former teammate, Jackie Trainer, who carried you guys to the championship in 2012 and seems to always elevate her game in the big moments.
Oh, man, she's fierce. And I love talking to Coach Murphy about her because he'll say right away, she's like the hardest worker on the team. And, typically that's not necessarily the case for pitchers. And I don't know why that is, but she's an anomaly. She goes out there and she gets better every year. She grinds. She wants the ball. She's really competitive. So, you want somebody like that in the circle. And then on top of all that, she throws some gas. She's hitting 70 miles an hour on the digger. That'll help every time.
Yeah, she really is. And as we spend the last few minutes with you, and this is Kayla Braud, SEC Network analyst, will be in Tuscaloosa bringing you the SEC softball tournament. As you look at it, I know we've talked about some different teams. We've bounced around. Who's a sleeper team that you're kind of looking at? One for me, and they're red hot right now. And they've basically, to me, played themselves off the bubble, is Samantha Ricketts and Mississippi State.
Oh, my gosh. What they've been able to do in the last couple weeks has been incredible. I actually watched them play their first win that they got on this streak that they've been on. They were playing South Carolina, and really they won because of taking 3 passes. I think they had 10 walks that they got in the game, and they ended up kind of walking themselves to a win. And since then, it's been incredible to see them turn around. I kind of had written them off as a team that wasn't going to make the postseason. They only had 1 win. And they go beat Tennessee, they sweep Georgia, and all of a sudden now they're sitting at the middle of the SEC. It's been really impressive. And they're such a talented team on paper when you look at it with Fale, Lou, and Mia Davidson. It was just kind of a matter of when they were going to come through, and they finally did. So I'm happy to see that. I think another sleeper for me is Kentucky. I think if they can get some things together in the circle, they're another offensive team. They're led by Kayla Braud, who I think is one of the best hitters in the entire country. You got to watch her play. She's very dynamic, can bunt, slap, hit for power. She's really impressive. So if they can get hot and ride some momentum, I've seen them go on some spurts this year where they look like a dominant offensive team that can score a lot of runs.
And Drew alluded to it. You're in Tuscaloosa for this. How does it feel? I mean, to be physically able to watch softball, call a game live.
Yeah, this could be great. I'm just glad you're there live.
Got to be a great feeling.
Oh, my gosh, it was surreal. We walked up to the park yesterday, and, it was a little nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie to you, because we had to do COVID testing. So if you test negative, you can stay. If that's positive, you got to leave and stay at the hotel all week. So I got my test back, and I was like, after that moment, I was like, finally, I'm here. This is real. I can breathe. This is amazing. And it's so great to be back in Tuscaloosa and, just driving through campus. It's beautiful right now. It just makes me so happy. And the stadium and where it's at, we're on a big set out in right field, up behind the Brickyard. And it's such a cool thing. And really feels full circle to me because, again, the last time we played an SEC tournament was 2012 when we won the national championship. So all good memories for me. I'm so happy to be back. And I texted Murph, and I was like, oh, my gosh, Murph's field looks great. Super excited to be here. And he's like, just sent me back, welcome home. So I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. How tough was it, though, to call games not in person?
Yeah, this just seemed like it's been that would be something that really would take a little while to get used to doing.
Oh my gosh, it was challenging. It has its challenges, and we'll still call regionals, 2 regionals from home, so it's not over yet.
Oh man,
of course. Already been over this morning with the NCAA.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was challenging. I mean, you miss some stuff. You're watching it on a monitor. If they don't cut to the camera fast enough, you're like, I don't know what just happened. So it's kind of been an interesting experience that, I'm going to be interested to see how I feel after this week, because it's going to be the first time I'm seeing people in person since, 2019 now. So I'm going to be like, it's going to be even tougher for me to go sit in front of the computers and the monitors and go back to calling games that way.
Oh, it is. It's going to be really tough. But finally, my final question. I know you've followed softball nationally as well. How many of these SEC teams do you give a really good shot to getting to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, three. I think Florida, Arkansas, and Bama have a great shot. And I think they're all going to be home hosts for the Super Regional Series. And I think that crowds are going to be at 50% capacity. So I think I think all of those environments are going to be tough to play. And if Alabama gets Lexi Kilfoyle back, the consistent threat on all those teams, they have depth in the pitching circle, that they'll be able to compete pretty well in the postseason.
Well, and Kayla, I'll put you on the spot. Who do you like in the tournament?
Not to sound like a homer, but I actually really do like Alabama. We were talking about that. I was sitting with Madison Chipman last night, and I just think that the way they're playing lately, being at home, all of that could be really special. So it's going to, fortunately come down to Montana Fouts. And if she wants to pitch well, then it's all theirs.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We know it's an early morning, but you're going to be out there and all week, and we can't wait to see your coverage. And it's always an honor to speak with you. Thank you for joining us, and we really appreciated the softball conversation this morning on Talkin Ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's so fun.
All right, thanks. Thanks,
Thank
Kayla.
Kayla Braud.
There you go, Drew.
Right there.
The SEC can be in person, but the NCAA won't let you in person to call a game.
Dan Woken, brought to you by Moranathon.
Let's go to break. More talk.
Hey, but we did watch a team walk their way to a win 46-45. I was thinking about that.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on the Parkway northbound at Drake. Got about 5 vehicles involved with some injury. You need to move right or get off onto the access road before you get to Drake. Andrew Jackson and Oakwood got a couple of wreckers on the way for that one. That one had some injury involved. Popeye's Rippin' Chicken Sampler has 2 chicken breasts, 8 butterfly shrimp, 2 sides, 2 biscuits. $10 at Popeye's, Jordan Lane, North Parkway, and 72 at Jeff Road. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero Health simplifies medication management. The smart device stores up to 90 days worth of up to 10 different pills. It dispenses them at the push of a button. Try Hero risk-free for 30 days and get free contactless delivery. Just call 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. Hero, medication managed.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Going to have about 8.5 minutes. Mike's on.
576-4977.
Hold it.
That's 256-576-4977.
There we go.
Welcome back. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
Could be the number to the door. We don't know.
Well,
hey, this looks like Thirsty Thursday.
It looks like slow pitch. That's actually men's fast pitch softball.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that's what I grew up around. My father, that's women's. My father was a men's fast pitch softball pitcher.
Nice.
And so I grew up around the diamond. And back in Iowa, they had church leagues.
Yeah.
And they really weren't church leagues. The church was a sponsor, and you would play representing that area. And men's fast pitch softball. I grew up around that back there in Iowa. That would be like adults trying something new or trying to relive and rekindle some of their youth.
Yep.
That's a great fitting to go into our next topic, and that is Tim Tebow signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars to rekindle his NFL career, this time as a tight end.
I wish him all the luck in the world. I hope he can do it. I'm hoping it's not 5 years too late. You know, he spent the time as a minor league baseball player and gave it a shot and got up to AAA with the Mets. And, really, I think exceeded everyone's expectations there. We know he's stayed in shape and he's a competitor, but I always felt like once the quarterback carousel for him, once the Patriots cut him, and it was obvious he wasn't going to be able to make it as a QB, if he had switched right then, even with New England, I think he could have just re-energized his career. It's going to be interesting because he's gotten older, but I wouldn't bet against Tim Tebow. People thought it was a publicity stunt when he played baseball, and it very much wasn't. So I would not say this is either. Now, he's very fortunate that his former college coach is now the head coach, of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's where he grew up, man. I mean, don't discount that. But, Tim Tebow is one of the great competitors that I've ever had the chance to cover and witness. And so I wouldn't bet against Tim Tebow being able to come back and I'm sorry, my body.
No, you're fine.
Just come back and finish his football career on the field.
Greater odds that he is on the opening day roster or not on the opening day roster for Jacksonville?
I would say greater odds that he's on the taxi squad. And that would be to be developed as a tight end, because you got to understand he's never played it.
Right.
Okay. They just worked him out. So
would he be willing to do? I mean,
well, hell yes. If he's doing this now, this is not one of these deals where they're signing him and they're like, okay, Gronk, go out there and play. Hell, he's never done it. You can't just hand him a position. I mean, Urban will be laughed out of the league. You can't do that. This isn't that kind of politics. You can't just hand some dude a starting position when he's never played it. He's going to have to be developed. But I think he knows. He started at the bottom in baseball, man. When you sign and you hadn't played since high school, you're starting from the bottom. And he surpassed everyone's expectations. So I want to see Tim Tebow as a tight end, and I would not be surprised if he makes it as unless it just goes horrifically bad and he's lost, and he's just too old and they cut him. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I think he's athletic. He's a competitor.
He hasn't taken any hits in a while, so his body should be fresh.
He will give you 110%. You know that. I think he'll be a guy they try to develop and put on the taxi squad and see, how he comes along as a blocker with his physicality, with his hands. I think it's going to be really, kind of fascinating to watch, honestly.
All right, 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977 if you want to get in on that conversation. Tim Tebow back in the NFL.
The one thing I'll say about Tim Tebow, of guys that you cover.
Yeah.
Now, there's some people that are FOS, like Johnny Boy, Johnny Manziel and these morons. Tim Tebow doesn't have a fake bone in his body. So everything he's doing has a purpose. And I think, he's a great competitor, and I just think he's got a shot. Now, the odds are long, but again, what I'm saying is I wouldn't bet against him.
Brandon saying, they'll have some quarterback gadget plays like jump passes, his trick plays up Urban Meyer's sleeve. Tight end is eligible in goal-like situations. Deuces will be wild with Tim Tebow on the field.
Well, Rod Daly just sent us a message and said, well, you can put him on the punt team, you can put him on kickoff team. I mean,
would Tim Tebow play special teams?
Well, hell yeah.
Because in the NFL, you almost have to, yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing, we never got to see Tim Tebow play defense. He's an offensive guy, but he played the game with brute physicality, and he's not going to be afraid to mix it up, okay? So, and play with the intensity needed. So, yes, I could see Tim Tebow being on special teams. I mean, the crowd will go bananas if he knocks the piss out of somebody.
And he's playing in his hometown, as you mentioned, Jacksonville. So,
yeah,
that's pretty big. All right, once again, 256-576-4977. We are about done with hour number one. You still want to get in. You still have time to get in. College baseball from yesterday. The UAH Chargers living on the edge yesterday, literally living on the edge. They get RBI singles from Tyler McCowan and John Truesdale in the bottom of the ninth.
Lauderdale County's finest, John Truesdale.
To get by Delta State 6-5.
There you go.
That means they have to play Delta State today at 11 a.m.
Uh-oh.
This is for all the marbles. The winner gets to move on to the Gulf South Conference Championship Series.
Best 2 out of 3.
At West Florida. West Florida's already in.
Yeah, and West Florida gave UAH their only loss.
Yes, West Florida's already in the championship. They went undefeated. They zipped through it.
Yep.
So UAH Delta State this morning at 11 a.m. The winner of that game will move into the best 2 of 3 championship series against West Florida. So if there was any doubt by Hunter Royer's squad whether or not they were going to get into the NCAA tournament, whether or not they needed,
right?
Yeah, you would think winning 3 games in the GSC tournament, because you've beaten Shorter twice and you've beaten Delta State once, you should definitely earn an NCAA berth.
And when will the series be, by the way?
The championship series?
Yes, at West
That
Florida.
will be on May, I believe.
In other words, you're going to be able to set your pitching if you can win this game today.
The 18th, 19th, and 20th of May was when that series will start.
You will get time off to set your pitching.
Yep, and that's what Coach Royer told us last week when he joined the show, is that, normally by the end of this weekend, the Gulf South Conference would already have their champion. They would be waiting for the NCAA tournament. There was that long gap between games. Now they've closed that gap. Still have time to set your pitching for the NCAA tournament. And now you have time to set your pitching for the Gulf South Conference Championship Series, which will be May 18th through the 20th. So good luck to the UAH Chargers. 11 o'clock this morning, taking on Delta State.
Let's go Chargers.
In the winner take all, moving on to the Gulf South Conference Championship Series. I guess that's what you would call it.
Yeah.
And semifinal win. Yeah. All right. And we are just literally about 30 seconds away, maybe less than that, from punching the clock in hour number one.
It's been a great first hour. We want to thank all the callers for reminiscing about Thirsty Thursdays. And then, of course, that was pretty epic, a Thirsty Thursday on top of 4th of July. I mean, what? But
I remember the 4th of July's. You could not move in that ballpark.
Yeah. And then they had huge crowds for, when the A's would come for exhibition games. No question about that.
The Brewers tried bringing in an exhibition game one time.
And it was a disaster.
It was the Brewers and the Marlins, and it got rained out.
Yeah, I remember it rained, yeah.
And I talked to Bob Uecker, though, in the Brewers clubhouse at the time. We got to talk to Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
And he never got to call the game from Joe Davis.
Just a bit outside.
Ball 4.
Yeah.
Ball 8.
20.
Ball 12. Can't believe they're laying off pitches this close. Let's get to a break. Hour number 2, Talking Ball when we return.
Mr. Belvedere. I remember that.
Oh, yes.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Gear, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporting new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck in Coleman County, I-65 northbound, about the 305-mile marker. Got one northbound on the Parkway near Drake. 5 vehicles involved in that one. Left lane, you need to move right or get on the access road to get around it. And it sounds like they've cleared Andrew Jackson and Oakwood had an injury wreck there. Snelling needs experienced materials handlers, first and second shift positions. This is temp to hire. Resumes to jobs at snellinghsv.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Scattered showers will be possible through a good majority of the day. It looks like the thunderstorm activity is going to remain at bay, and we're just dealing with a little bit of rain through a good majority of the afternoon. It's not going to be a complete washout. There will be some periods where we are dry, and maybe we'll even get to enjoy a couple of peaks of sunshine. Still, with the rain in the forecast, temperatures are going to struggle to warm much higher than the mid and upper 60s. A couple of our traditionally warm spots could see 70 degrees. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Golf, the 2021 AT&T Byron Nelson odds have John Rahm the favorite at plus 900, Bryson DeChambeau at plus 1,000, Dustin Johnson at plus 1,100, Jordan Spieth plus 1,200, and Daniel Berger plus 1,800. The second leg of the Triple Crown, the 146th Preakness Stakes, will take place Saturday at Pimlico. Medina Spirit without suspended trainer Bob Baffert after failing a post-Kentucky Derby drug test, listed as the favorite at 7-2, with Concert Tour at 9-1 and Midnight Bourbon at 15-1. UFC 262 with the vacated lightweight title on the line at the Toyota Center in Houston Saturday. Charles Oliveira, the odds-on favorite at minus 130, with Michael Chandler coming in as the plus 110 underdog. I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, here we go. As always, this segment of Talkin Ball brought to you by our very good friends over at Terrell Technical Services Incorporated in Madison. They offer that full line of environmental health and safety services, including industrial hygiene, asbestos, mold, and bacterial services, Legionella testing, water management plans, lead-based paint inspection assessments and abatement plans, environmental site assessments, LEED certified air testing, and more. Their staff does hold all US EPA accreditations and nationally recognized certifications and credentials to necessitate your project to completion. Give Terrell Technical Services a call today at 256-461-9278 to discuss your environmental health or safety needs. Welcome back to hour number 2 of Talking Ball, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on hour number 2. Now, yesterday when we were out and about, we were talking about the transfer portal. We were talking about names coming in, names coming out. Well, there was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor out there that Clemson wide receiver Justin Ross would find the transfer portal. Well, yesterday via Twitter, Ross shut that door.
Yeah.
saying that I am not transferring.
Shocked. Just amazed. Again, sometimes rumors get started that, as I said yesterday, make no damn sense. And so that one did not. I mean, he's coming off an injury. He had surgery on his spine. He's coming along. He should be back. Very fortunate, but he's going to be a huge part of Clemson's offense. It made 0 sense to think he was going to transfer. I mean, and it just gets people's dander up, and they just, oh, this is so unfair. Oh, this is so unfair. So it wasn't going to happen anyway, okay? He's going to stay where he is. He made his choice coming out of high school. He chose Clemson. It's been a good move for him. He's been a very good player. If he has a big year, he's going to have a chance to play in the NFL. So, hey, I mean, Alabama and Auburn missed out on the young man, but
right.
I mean, he's still going to I think he made a good decision for him. Certainly Alabama is still really good. It probably impacted Auburn even more because they, if you talk to people, they feel like their talent level is down inside the wide receiver room. They've missed on some guys. So to help Bo Nix out. But again, I never expected Justin Ross to transfer from Clemson. I couldn't get my head around that.
256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show this morning. Something that we're all going to follow, and that is the recruitment of one Arch Manning.
Oh, yeah.
And we have talked to Mike Detillier long before all this hype began of Arch Manning. And he was talking to us about, the rise of Arch and watch out for this one. And sure enough, for the last year and a half, we've been telling you about Arch Manning. We've been keeping you up to date on Arch Manning. Well, now Arch Manning is starting that recruiting process, Drew. And this summer, or the number one rated passer in the 2023 class has scheduled some camp visits. And it's going to be Clemson, SMU, Texas, Alabama, and Georgia among the many that he will have.
Yeah, and interestingly, Ole Miss not on there. Now, I know he's grown up going to games there. He's probably been there more than anywhere.
Yeah.
Due to the family connections. But some things that maybe perhaps Ole Miss is not in that mix. Maybe the Manning family not a huge fans of Lane Kiffin. You never know.
They say he's already been to LSU and Ole Miss. But maybe not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's from New Orleans.
Right.
And so LSU is right down the road. But I will say this. I think they are open to him going to the best place for him. I would still, though, be shocked if he ended up at LSU or Mississippi State, just simply because historically, despite the fact I know that Alabama's got a ton of tradition and things of that nature, but when you're looking at Ole Miss football history, their two biggest rivals are LSU and Mississippi State. And so
yes.
I would be surprised if Arch ended up at either of those two places.
Here's a surprise. Tennessee and Duke are a couple other programs that he has been building a rapport with.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not a surprise there.
David Cutcliffe is as close to the Mannings as anyone.
Right.
I mean, he coached two of them. Would have coached all three. But Cooper Manning, of course, had to retire before his college career ever started. Cooper would have been there, with David Cutcliffe there, as would have as Eli Manning was. And so I think, he would have coached both of them, and then he coached Peyton as OC with the Tennessee Volunteers. So there's no one closer to that family than him.
Now, they also say that he is interested in taking a Stanford, USC, a West Coast swing, which you don't doubt. That's might as well, as also a Notre Dame and Ohio State.
And let me correct something. My bad. Cooper is the oldest, so I had to think in my head. Actually, he would have played for Billy Brewer. Okay, because when Peyton came out in the late 90s, Peyton came out 2 or 3 years after Cooper did.
Right.
David Cutcliffe was still the OC at Tennessee. So my bad on that. But still, there's no one that's closer to him. He did coach, as we said, Peyton and Eli. And Cooper would have been a wide receiver at Ole Miss before he had to give it up due to the of course, the narrowing of the spinal column. But again, there's no one that's closer to them. Cutcliffe has done a great job at Duke, but I'm just saying, I don't expect to see Arch at Duke either.
No.
This is a dude that's going to be, as Mike Detillier has told us, in his opinion, the most heavily recruited player in the history of the state of Louisiana.
Let that sink in just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Of course, last name helps and the ability helps, but still, he's a quarterback. It's still a quarterback-driven sport. With the lineage you've got with an Arch Manning, he's told us about that Arch is kind of a combination of the three. And what I mean by the three is Peyton, Eli, and then Archie, because he's got Archie's mobility and athleticism. But, a cerebral guy with outstanding arm talent like his, of course, two uncles. So he's going to be extremely heavily recruited. I know they really like Steve Sarkisian. Texas is on that list.
Yeah.
So Texas is going to be heavily involved with Arch. So will Alabama. I mean, Alabama recruits at the highest level. Going to be really interested to see, which camps that really impress him. Because, again, he's got 2 full years of high school competition left.
He's going to the Clemson camp June 8th and 9th.
Right.
Along with his brother Hyde, who's a center. I didn't realize there was another.
I didn't either. Now we're gonna have to pick Detillier's brain for this, because he'll know. But I did not know that there was another Manning coming down the pipe, and so
I did not know. Then they head to the Lone Star State after that. They're going to spend a day with SMU and a couple more with the Longhorns. The third weekend in June is going to be in Tuscaloosa, and then they wrap up a month with a weekend in Athens, Georgia. So that is Arch Manning.
Forgive me if I stick my head in the toilet at that last one. Not the biggest fan of Georgia and their player development or their coaching staff. Arch, good luck with that one, bro.
I've not heard you say anything negative about the Georgia staff ever.
Kirby Freeze, smart. Yeah.
I've never heard you say anything.
The way he handles quarterbacks, good luck with that. And that's all I'll say about it.
Oh, I've never heard you say anything negative about them.
Well,
so that's surprising that you're not a fan of
what
Georgia.
B. Rich just said via message. We can't say that on this show. But
you can't even clean it up.
Not the biggest Manning fan. B. Rich.
Really?
No.
That doesn't surprise me either.
No, not at all.
But what he can tell us is how many days Tennessee has lost to Alabama consecutively.
He is the man when it comes to that.
Okay. All right. So speaking of SEC football, but 256-576-4977. If you want to get in on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning, you can. It's wide open for you right now. The first hour, in case you missed anything from the first hour, we were reminiscing about memories at Joe Davis Stadium. If you got any kind of memories from Joe Davis you want to throw out there on the heels of the Trash Pandas opening tonight, go ahead and do so. 256-576-4977. And we've talked about how asinine the NCAA is right now as far as attendance policies go and how slow they are to reacting when it comes to that. So that is how you can get in on anything you missed in the first hour.
And I don't know if you completely ruined his morning, Scott, but B. Rich he's pretty much disconsolate right now that he can't believe that there's another Manning that plays center.
I did not know this because Arch has all the attention right now, and it says right here, and I'm completely reading it. Will camp at Clemson along with his brother Hyde, who is a center. H-E-I-D. I assume it's Hyde.
Yeah, H-E-I-D.
Yeah. I did not know there was another Manning. I did not know Cooper had two sons that were playing football.
Yeah.
Now we learned something new.
Yes, Google.
We all learned something new today.
Yeah, we did. And it didn't please B. Rich very much.
Well, if a Manning played at Alabama,
would be great. Now, I'm going to get a bunch of blowback from this, but I think it'd be outstanding. I think Nick Saban's final quarterback at Alabama, if that was Arch Manning, that's like book kind of stuff, man.
Alabama fans would would cheer this, right?
Of course.
And Peyton attending an Alabama football game.
The minute he throws like 2 or 3 touchdown passes, they would. Man, give me a break. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, certainly Peyton put a knot on Alabama's head a couple times, and Eli even had one great day, but but his last one wasn't. They got shellacked, if I remember correctly. But I mean, or at least shellacked early in his career.
Having Arch Manning go to
His senior year,
Knoxville,
they whipped Alabama pretty good, but early in his career they didn't. Rough time there.
that would hurt Tennessee though. Arch Manning wearing an Alabama uniform going
It'd be
into
a double
Knoxville.
whammy. It'd be a double whammy. Arch Manning coming in with a red helmet on to Knoxville and Oxford. Oh, I would love to see it.
256-576-4977. That's the number to Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. All right, what about this year, though? What about the SEC this year? Players in the SEC this year. 24/7 Sports says, okay, guys, here's the deal. There's 10 players that are going to enter the 2021 season, and these are the top 10 players in the SEC this coming season. Now, Arch Manning's not going to be there until 2023. Any in the SEC, maybe. But these are the guys that are going to be there this year. Kevin Harris, your running back from South Carolina, they say, is on the list as one of the top 10 players returning in the SEC this year. So Shane Beamer has himself a running back to build around. Christian Harris, Drew, they say is in the top 10 as far as top 10 players returning this year. And that's the linebacker for Alabama. Top 10 player in the SEC this year, Christian Harris?
Potentially. I mean, he's made a lot of progress. You got to remember, he never played linebacker till he got to college. And so he was a wide receiver, DB, athlete, played a lot of different positions. And I thought he really got a lot better as a sophomore. And now I think it's going to be key. I think it actually hurt Dylan Moses to move over from Will to be the signal caller at Mike. He never adjusted really well. He's going to be able to still run to the ball and play Will because Toa Toa is coming in to be the signal caller. Make no mistake. Now he's got to beat out Moody, and Moody's going to compete and can play both spots.
Toa Toa not come in, Christian Harris would be the one having to call?
I still think it would be Moody. Okay. I still think they were planning on that. Even though I think I think there was some work on it. I do think they were teaching Harris to call the signal some. I think they were cross training him and Moody. I think Harris called the signal some this spring, and that'll help because he can help bring Toa Toa along. But trust me, Toa Toa is coming in here to be the signal caller and run the defense and then make sure guys are lined up. I understand that he hadn't been at Alabama, but the defenses are similar. And when he gets there in May or June or whenever that is, hearing about the way he is, we heard from Vince Ferrari yesterday, and the studious guy that he is, he's going to be really, I think, just throwing himself into the playbook.
All right, on this list as well, top 10 players returning in the SEC this year, Matt Corral, Ole Miss quarterback. We've talked a lot about Matt Corral because one minute he looks like he could contend for a Heisman. The next minute he looks like not going to contend for a Heisman by throwing 5 interceptions in one game. Number 7, he's not going to play this year, George Pickens.
Well,
is he not going to? I mean, he's out, you think, for the whole entire year, would you say?
I would be shocked. I mean, he might try to make it back for the second half of the season. But I know that the recoveries from these ACLs are getting quicker and quicker, but you don't want to push it too hard. I didn't see it last year, okay? I didn't think he was near a top 10 player. I didn't think he could hold the jock strap of any of the dudes at Bama.
Was that because of his quarterback play being –
Well, that was probably part of it, but I didn't think that he was very productive, quite frankly. And I'm sure the quarterback carousel and the way Kirby butchered it, didn't help the kid. But I also think the kid maybe didn't do, it wasn't playing as hard and it being as studious from a football perspective as he needed to be.
Right.
He finished his freshman year strong. You remember that Sugar Bowl against Baylor. I'm not sure he carried it over into last year and was playing at a high enough level. And I think, Georgia struggled offensively somewhat, and I think he got frustrated a little bit like Seth Williams at Auburn.
Okay.
But maybe he would have been poised for a breakout year this year. But so far, Pickens, to me, doesn't warrant the hype. Now, we'll see what happens when he comes back. And I hate that. And he did become better once JT Daniels was in the lineup and was able to throw the ball vertically down the field a little bit better. But we'll see. I would have been interested to see him going into this year. Certainly he would have been runaway Georgia's number one receiver. But now he's not. They still say they're fine at wide receiver. So if they are, why the hype on Pickens? But again, I think Pickens is a good player, but not great player. I haven't been sold on him as one of those difference makers.
All right, they list DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M inside the top 10.
Right.
Will Anderson from Alabama, defensive lineman, inside the top 10 as one of the top 10 returning players in the SEC. Charles Cross from Mississippi State inside the top 10.
Offensive tackle, yeah.
JT Daniels from Georgia there as one of the top 10 best players returning in the SEC.
Well, arguably, he's the top quarterback returning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many that have left, and he finished the year playing well. But let's not underestimate something. He couldn't beat out Slovis at USC. His ass was second string. So maybe they're both first-round picks. We don't know. Alabama had a quarterback room that was that loaded. Certainly, JT Daniels is going to be counted on to produce like that. On paper, I think he is the top quarterback in the SEC, but now he has to go out and play like it. And he's lost a big part of it, with George Pickens being hurt. So we'll see. Can he elevate those around him to another level?
Okay, Evan Neal, offensive lineman from Alabama on that list. And then Derek Stingley, cornerback LSU.
Just as long as the Devontae Smith doesn't walk into the stadium, so you see something running down his leg. It's called He Owns Your Ass, Mr. Stingley, and he always will.
And I'm going to say this. What's frustrating about that list, if you're an Auburn fan, this is year 3, and I know it's a new coach, but Bo Nix not on that list as a top 10 player coming back has to be frustrating because he has not developed where they thought he should be. That has to be frustrating to see.
Was there anyone from Auburn on that list?
No.
I did not see.
No.
I think there's a mistake there.
There's no one listed.
One should be on there. And to be honest with you, he should be on there more than George Pickens, and that's Tank Bigsby. Because
that's a good point.
Because Tank Bigsby, he did get injured at the end of last year, but he was bringing the thunder. And I'm going to tell you this. If the Auburn Tigers go to a bowl game, if the Auburn Tigers finish in the top half of the SEC West, and that's not a given.
Right.
But if they do, Bigsby will have 1,500 yards, okay? I believe more in Tank right now than I would have if George Pickens was healthy, because George Pickens would have to go out and show me that he's going to consistently make plays, which he may do.
And Tank Bigsby's already shown you.
He may go out there and bring it.
Right.
But I didn't think even when he was healthy last year that he brought it enough. Bigsby was a beast, and I think it was really detrimental to what happened at Auburn at the end of last year when he was hurt, because he wasn't himself against Alabama. I think he had 5 carries, 6. I mean, and he needs to be one of these dudes that's getting 20 or 25. So to me, and if you look at Brian Harsin and his history at Boise State, they had a litany of 1,400-yard running backs. And so I definitely think that, he's going to be the linchpin of their offense. They're going to build it around him. I do think that the offensive line is a work in progress, but I think they can run block, okay? The deal is going to be pass blocking. If Auburn can run the ball effectively, though, that will help Bo Nix exponentially, because if you've got a dangerous running back there, and if you've also got a change of pace in Sean Shivers, who's a senior who's ready to go and ready to have his best year at Auburn, if you're productive in the backfield, it will help Bo Nix, because, again, it takes the pressure off the passing game, and, of course, that wide receiver room that needs to develop. They have so much inexperience. They do have some talent led by Elijah Canyon. But again, it's mostly unproven.
Yep.
And then we know they moved J.J. Pegues to defensive line, so he's not going to be there in the tight end room. But I still think the tight ends going forward will finally be a bigger part of this offense because it's going to be a more traditional attack that Brian Harsin is going to have for the Tigers.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to pause all the football talk and switch it back to softball. Alabama head coach Patrick Murphy with us next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working to clear a couple of accidents now. Had one on the Parkway northbound at Drake. Had several vehicles involved in that one. It had some injury. And we had Andrew Jackson in Oakwood, also an injury-type accident. Both of those should be out of the way pretty quick. Maybe gone already. No mask, no hose. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's an easy-to-use oral device. Insurance approved for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Spring has sprung with a hint of summer right around the corner. And with all the travel restrictions easing up, now is the time to consider the Lodge at Guntersville State Park for a quick, relaxing getaway. At the Lodge at Guntersville State Park, all the rooms are routinely disinfected and cleaned to the highest standard. And views across Guntersville Lake are as gorgeous as ever. It's been too long, all cooped up at home. Make plans now to spend a weekend at the Lodge or cabins or campgrounds of Guntersville State Park today. Visit alapark.com for more information.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero Health simplifies medication management. The smart device stores up to 90 days worth of up to 10 different pills. It dispenses them at the push of a button. Try Hero risk-free for 30 days and get free contactless delivery. Just call 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. Hero, medication managed.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water, you name it. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better, because for just $29.99 per month, we give you the super fast, reliable internet you need and the awesome customer service you deserve. Switch to Internet 100 for just $29.99 per month. And now, learn how to get $150 on us at Huawei.com. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing, equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin Ball with Scott and Drew.
Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. We're with you until 9 a.m. First hour, we talked some SEC softball. Got a great broad landscape with the SEC softball tournament from Kayla Braud. We got a great broad landscape. She gave us her thoughts on who would win the tournament.
Yep.
Gave us some great insight as to how many teams from the SEC could get into the NCAA tournament. And her favorite to win the tournament is just coincidentally her alma mater, Alabama. And she said she's had a chance to visit with Patrick Murphy. Well, why not us visit with Patrick Murphy?
Yes, he has been there for the entirety of Alabama's existence as a softball program, first as an assistant, and then it really as the head coach since 1999. He won a national championship in 2012. He's closing in on 1,100 wins as Alabama's softball coach. What a run he's had, building one of the best programs in the country. And once again, his ladies are ranked in the top 3 in America. And on a 10-game winning streak heading into this, and the first time they've hosted it since winning the tournament in that national championship season that Kayla Braud gave us so many great memories. But Patrick Murphy has been good enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, it's great to have you back in Huntsville with Drew and Scott. No pressure. Kayla thinks you guys were the favorite going into this tournament.
I think, I don't know, maybe it's jet lag or something for Kayla. No, it's just been a great year, and you guys you would love this team. You would love them as teammates. They're full of grit. They're very resilient, and as is everybody nowadays with the pandemic going on. But we've had our share of injuries. We lost the starting shortstop. We lost the starting second baseman. We lost an outfielder for 5.5 weeks. We lost a pitcher for 3 weeks. Another outfielder for 4 weeks. And I still don't know how the hell we're in the top 3 and number 2 in RPI. So it just says a lot about the young ladies on the team. That's for sure.
No doubt.
Well, Coach, as we approach, before we delve into the tournament as a whole, just to be back at home and to play and to be in the SEC tournament, to actually have it this year, it's got to feel a little bit of relief just to be knowing that today the tournament is actually back on.
Oh, I know. It's a blessing for sure. And kudos to Commissioner Sankey and everybody at the SEC, and then also all the people at all the schools in the SEC, because they, things could look a lot different than what they do right now. And we're just really, really thankful for all the people that have helped us, the medical teams at every school, especially they've just been working their tails off since June, trying to get ready for football and all the fall sports. So we're really fortunate, and we know that.
Well, Coach, you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to ask you how resilient this current group has been, because I've followed your team since you've been at Alabama, and I'm not sure I remember one that's had as many key injuries as this one, because you lose someone that I think if anyone has follows softball, and it's become such a big time sport on the landscape of both high school and collegiate competition, they've been hearing about Bailey Dowling for so many years. She was off to a great start. She gets injured, and then you lose such a core player, and one from North Alabama, of course, as well, in Claire Jenkins. But I think the story of this team, though, has been the kind of the opportunity for the next player to step up. And since getting off to a slow start, Savannah Woodard has been really good. And then I've been really impressed with Taylor Clark, because it's not that easy sometimes to be a corner infielder and then maybe have to shift to shortstop for you.
I know, and I don't give her enough credit for that, because you're right. She practiced mainly at third for us, and then all of a sudden, Claire goes down, and I didn't want to move Savannah to short and then Taylor to second, because then that's 2 moves. And Savannah was starting to settle in at second base. So I decided Taylor was going to go to short. She did play it in high school. And you're right. She has done great things there. And you're also right about Savannah, because she's been one of the keys down the stretch. Defensively, offensively, she has been so clutch lately with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Like the other day against Ole Miss, I think it was like the first or second inning, and here she is again. And I called timeout, and I was like, Savannah, this is like deja vu. It's like, what the heck is this? And she doesn't say much. She just smiles. And I said, this is what you're going to do. I think you're going to smoke it up the middle, and you're going to drive in 2 runs right now. And 2 pitches later, she smoked it up the middle and drove in both runs. So she was the newcomer of the week after the Georgia series. She's helped us out a lot. And you're right about Bailey Dowling as well. She was having a hell of a year. She was leading us in RBIs and home runs. Claire was our vocal infield leader, just set the tone for everybody in the infield. And, it's hard when you lose somebody that's basically played, 4 years, and then all of a sudden she's done. Mm-hmm. So just a really gritty, resilient group.
Well, Coach, let's go into the circle. And Montana Fouts, 4 times this year, SEC Pitcher of the Week. But you guys also had a program record, 10th weekly honor for a team this year. Montana Fouts has been lights out, but it seems like whoever you can put in the circle has also gone a long way into helping this team.
Yeah, and you got to start with Montana. And, the only other person that had 4 in a season is our pitching coach, Stephanie Van Brakel-Prothro, which is kind of a neat fact. But Montana, just incredible kid. Again, a great teammate, hardest worker on the team. absolutely no ego. I mean, I could go on and on and on about her as a person, but she really just said, get on my back, and I'm going to ride this all the way to Tuscaloosa for the SEC tournament. And she beat Arkansas twice. She usually pitches better on the second day she pitches, which is weird because you've seen her for 7 innings and you think the hitters are going to start to hit her. But then she comes up with a shutout on a Sunday. So I think that's been one of her best traits this year. And then Kilfoyle, she's picked up some wins. Crystal Goodman has been key for us. I think she's 7-1, and she kind of picked up the slack when Lexi got hurt.
Yeah, she really has. I thought Goodman really picked it up because you've been without Lexi for a while now. I know, Coach, you were and she could be a big two-way factor, both as a designated player, as a hitter, and then in the circle. I know you were trying to get her healthy for the SEC tournament. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but what's her availability this weekend?
I think you'll get to see her. Hopefully, we'll make a long run, and she should be able to go. And it'll probably be on a pitch count,
right?
But we're probably going to try it.
That would be huge for and then with we mentioned this to Kayla because it was her teammate, and that's what it seemed to me. But it seems that Montana really, I know they've talked about how hard she and her father worked once the season was stopped last year. She really started working on her game, trying to she's already been great, but she's really seemed to take it to another level. And now throughout this season, just watching her, she seems to rise to the occasion in big moments, a lot like the great Jackie Trainer, who helped lead you to that 2012 title.
Yeah, in Montana, I think the biggest difference this year between her freshman year is her ball is moving a lot more. She still has 70 miles an hour, but now add a little drop to it, a little rise to it, and more of a curve to it. And that makes it even harder to hit. And I think that's the biggest difference. And you guys have heard of tunneling in Major League Baseball pitching, where, you throw a fastball, curveball, or a slider, and you want it to look like the exact same pitch until about, 10 feet, 5 feet in front of the plate. And then boom, it either goes down, away, curve. Well, that's what she's starting to do. So it's, and we're from 43 feet. So it's almost harder because if it breaks too quick and it's a rise ball, any batter can say, oh, that's too high, I'm not going to swing at that. But the one that really kills you is the one that has late break. And it's right in front of you, and you're like, oh, man, that's going to be a strike. You swing, and then all of a sudden it jumps over your bat. So I think that's why she had, 7 or 8 double-digit strikeout games in SEC games, because they didn't know what was coming, and then her drop ball has been really good too.
Alabama head softball coach Patrick Murphy joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Alabama set to host the 2021 SEC softball tournament, which begins today. Coach, you guys will not play till Thursday. You get that bye until Thursday. You await the winner of Kentucky and Georgia. Your thoughts on the league as a whole going through everything this year?
Well, I think, in a normal year, like the last 3 years that we had an NCAA tournament, all 13 teams made it in. I think South Carolina probably has some work to do at this tournament. I think the other 12 are pretty solidified to be in, because there's been some key wins all around the whole league. I mean, Georgia gave Oklahoma its first loss. And then we went over there and we swept them. And then this past week in Mississippi State, they really helped themselves and they swept Georgia. So, there's some head-scratching moments in the SEC, but that's in every sport. Because if you don't come ready to play, you will get beat. I don't care who you're playing. You better be ready to play, or it's not going to be a good outcome for you.
Well, Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about these seniors who they've been through a lot because the season was stopped last year, and I know everyone missed out on being able to play a complete year, and they've gone through a lot through the testing. And I know you guys were even shorthanded this past weekend, sweeping Ole Miss at home. But what has this senior group meant to you and Alabama softball as a whole?
Well, first of all, 6 of them will have master's degrees.
That's insane.
And one
Wow.
will have a double major. Yeah, and that never happens for us because they usually graduate in 4 years, and then they go on to get their master's. But and I don't know if you heard that story, but late April last spring, Mr. Battle, Bill Battle, our former AD, called me. I was walking on campus and just out of the blue said, you know how much Mary and I love your program, the way you guys do things. This is what we want to do for you.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't sure what he was going to say, but he paved the way for all the seniors to come back. So just a great gift from him and Mary, and then for these young ladies to get to come back and play. It just it's kind of a dream come true for everybody.
It really
wow,
is.
Dad, not heard that story at all. That
Yeah.
is that's an amazing story. I mean, Bill Battle telling you that he's going to pay the way.
And his legacy was solidified with us way before any of that.
Yeah.
But when he said that, I was like, I didn't know what to say. I think I started crying to begin with. And then because we really didn't know if we were going to be able to do it. So I called every senior individually and I said, I just got the best phone call in my life. And then almost every one of them started crying. So it was just an unbelievable day, and one I'll never forget.
Yeah, because they had the option of returning or not returning. And had he not offered to do all that, do you think you would have had as many seniors this year?
Probably not, because the NCAA said you can give the same, you can give less, or you can give no scholarship, and it was up to the schools. You couldn't raise the senior because that's really not fair for everybody, And you had baseball, you had softball, you had track, you had golf, you had men's and women's tennis. I mean, there was a lot of sports, and that's a lot of extra money because their scholarships didn't go against the team limit. And when he came in and said, "I'll do this," it helped everybody in the athletic department, not just softball, but the whole athletic department.
Well,
wow, that's amazing.
And then another just huge loss to the Alabama softball family. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Rhodes family and specifically losing Ann Rhodes, who, of course, the stadium is named after, and she was such a huge supporter of you and the young ladies in the program.
Yeah, and she was a great role model for our young ladies because here is a female giving her hard-earned money to a female program. And it doesn't happen very often. And it was the largest gift ever to a female athletics program at Alabama. And it was, $2 million plus. But she was in her box almost every game. Just a great supporter, behind the scenes person. If she saw something that she didn't really like in our stadium that needed improving, it probably got done within a month.
Wow.
And that's what we loved about her because she was just a great, great lady and somebody to have on your side.
Yeah, and the facility in itself, Coach, I know you've been there since well before it was built, but it's been such a huge tool to helping you continue to enhance this program. And trust me, you make it look a lot easier than it is, in my opinion, to win year in and year out. To me, this year has been one of your best coaching jobs just because of the injuries, but you've got a super resilient group, and the culture that you've built, a lot of it has been because of the tools that you've been given.
And, one time we won our first SEC championship in 2006, and Mal Moore was the AD, and I can remember him giving me a hug. And then he kind of stepped back and he said, "What an awesome accomplishment, your first SEC championship, but it takes something really special to win another one." And it wasn't like a challenge statement. It just was like a fact. And he said, the hardest thing to do in college athletics is to be a consistent winner. And I really took that to heart. And I was like, okay, is that a challenge, Mal? Take that as a challenge. And, we've won 6 SECs, and we're the only school in the country to be, he played in all 15 super regional rounds. And we've been to 12 Women's College World Series. So I've tried to do what Mal said to do a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, Coach. And, Coach, for this group, Scott's already mentioned you've got the double bye. You play the winner of Kentucky and Georgia. What have you got to do to win this tournament? Because you're the only host to ever win it back in 2012, but certainly you feel good about where you're headed as far as hosting the regionals and potentially the supers. But what do you need to do to continue to stay hot, 10-game winning streak, and win this tournament?
Well, this is what I tell the team before every big-time game, especially down the stretch. I think there's 3 keys to win in high-level fast pitch. Number 1, you got to get a good start from your pitcher. She has to give you a chance to win. Number 2, you have to play clean defense as a team. You can't give the opponent, 4 outs an inning. And then the third thing is probably the hardest is you got to get that key 2-out RBI. And usually the team that does those 3 ends up winning. And a lot of these games are going to be 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, 4-3. And it's going to be that 2-out double that scores 2 runs in the 6th. That's going to be the winning margin. So we've been doing that pretty much all season because Montana, Crystal, Lexi have given us pretty good starts. We've cleaned up our defense for sure. And then lately, we've been killing the ball. So those 3 things are key when it comes to big-time softball.
It really is. And I meant to ask you, too, how big has it been? You talked about her being out for, a couple of months, but to get Jenna Johnson back, and really she seems like she's followed the lead of her teammates, but she's really come back and made an impact and been swinging the bat.
Oh, yeah. I think the first game back, she had a 2-run single against Ole Miss, I believe. But she's got power potential that a lot of people don't realize. And I think the more she sees live pitching, the more that's going to show up in a game. And she's a right-handed bat, which really helps us. Because sometimes there's left-handed pitchers that we face in the SEC, like Ole Miss had one, and I had 6 lefties in the lineup. I would have had 7 if not for Jenna.
Yeah, so much balance she gives you, Coach, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and great athlete too. And when that knee gets fully healthy, probably next year you're going to see her in center field taking over for Alyssa.
Wow. I mean, that'd be something. She's definitely going to provide protection for, of course, Kaylee Tao and the great Bailey Hemphill, who no one needs to take for granted. What a career she's had for you. One of the best in Alabama history. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy one for you today, and it's going to be a busy week over at the Rhodes House. But good luck to Alabama softball. We're honored to be in the home of Alabama athletics here at 97.7 The Zone. It's been great to catch up with you, and much success. We hope they continue to see you get back to Oklahoma City yet again. A great year so far, though, 42-7, just a remarkable season.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and roll tide.
Thanks. Alabama head softball coach Patrick Murphy joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Northern Iowa alum as well.
There you go.
So there we go.
Throw that in.
There, got to get that in every time we talk to them.
That's why Alabama's played Northern Iowa a few times.
They have.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's get a break in. When we come back, wrap it up with tomorrow's headlines today. This will be good.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We're winding it down pretty quick this morning. Got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode, but we don't have anything new accident-wise. Good news there. Got some bridge work to watch for in Athens. 31 over I-65 on the northbound side. Repair work there till about 3 o'clock this afternoon. 565 westbound at Mooresville Road also got a bridge inspection project. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick and the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Here's a list of what we have. The Crimson Tide Sports Network, the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, Madison Academy Football, UAH Basketball, the SEC Radio Network, the College Football National Championship Game, the SEC Football Championship Game, NBA Playoffs, MLB Playoffs, and that's just the starting lineup. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That fact is important for you to know.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, 7 minutes to the music. Here we go.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When I saw this headline, this came out yesterday, I knew we were going to I had to bring it up today, even though it's not a headline for tomorrow, but because it's just one of those ones, Drew, that makes you laugh and you're grasping at straws. Bob Baffert yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show.
This ought to be good.
Said, and this is why he is claiming Medina Spirit tested positive. Okay?
Uh-huh.
That a groom who had been taking cough medicine, presumably containing the substance that he tested positive for, had urinated in Medina Spirit's straw-bedded stall, and that the horse then ate some of the straw and inadvertently tested positive.
Urinated straw. I've heard it all now. I mean, where the hell did they come up with this? If you hadn't had 5 other horses like suspended, but I still would laugh. I mean, are you kidding me? How the hell did they come up with that? Good grief.
Urinated straw.
Don't piss on the straw, everybody.
and then have your horse eat it.
Somebody must have done that on a thirsty Thursday.
Especially if the fair
Dump man, where you at?
Especially if the fair is going on out there. Okay. So I saw that yesterday, and then I laughed. And then, okay, I know you're going to be paying attention to the SEC softball tournament over the weekend.
Yes.
It'll be on ESPN, and we had Kayla Braud on, and she'll be there. But did you know, Drew, that it is week 2 of the Spring League? That is exactly what it's called. The Spring League. It's your favorite professional spring football. It's week 2 of the Spring League. Have you paid attention to the Spring League at all?
No.
Do you even know who the teams are?
No.
Okay, so this is how this works. This is crazy here. So the teams are based out of Indianapolis and Texas. That's it. That's the two sites. Okay, that's the only two sites that you will play. So your North teams are called the Alphas, Aviators, Conquerors, or Linemen.
What the heck is this again?
Your South teams are called the Blues, the Jousters, the Generals, or the Sea Lions.
And what sport is this?
This is spring football. It's called the Spring League.
Oh, stop this. I hate spring football unless it's spring practice.
It's going to be on Fox this weekend. You can watch it on FS1.
Grief.
So this weekend, you get the Alphas versus the Conquerors and the Aviators versus the Linemen.
Riveting. Probably be about as good as the Alliance was, which was okay at first and then went into the crapper. And then the XFL, let's not even talk about it. 2 flops.
Yeah, so that is it's the Premier Professional Football Development League.
Here we go.
Majority of the players who participate have spent time in the NFL practice or preseason rosters. It's got 8 teams. It sees the North Division. Its headquarters in Indianapolis. All games will be at Lucas Oil Stadium. The South Division operates out of Houston, Texas, with all the games at Rice Stadium. It also has a showcase in the summer and fall to provide additional opportunities for players to be evaluated.
Horrific. That's what this football will be. Bad.
And the other headline has to do with NCAA basketball. Okay. So our friends at the NCAA, they have made a lot of great decisions.
Oh, tons. They made some more today. Well, at least that I was made aware of. Like you can have 100% capacity for the regular season, but when we go to the NCAA, Joe and Dr. Dummy says 50%. Give me a break with that.
So they had their NCAA men's basketball rules committee meetings, and they are going to let officials be empowered now to call technical fouls on players they judge to be attempting to con their way into personal fouls against their opponents, or in other words, flopping.
Well, I agree with that. They've been to do something about flopping for years. They ought to just call it the Vlade Divac, because he basically, back in the day, just absolutely made it an art form.
And so then remember we were talking about the personal foul rules, and they were going to try to alter the way fouls are counted. The experiment is being suggested for the 2022 NIT, which would allow data to be collected. And this is going to be, the suggestion is for players to be allowed a maximum of 3 fouls in each half before being disqualified. So if a player gets 4 personal fouls in the second half, he would be out of the game, even if he did not foul in the first half. If he fouls 3 times in the first half, he could foul twice in the second and continue playing.
Well, that's stupid. Why do it that way? Just give them 6 fouls. Come on. And then call flopping.
Yeah, so the 2022 NIT is when they're going to try to experiment with that.
Okay.
So just another great move there by the NCAA.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Name a good one. Can't.
The 50% seating capacity, after having teams like Tennessee, LSU, all these other NCAA teams in the SEC that have 100% capacity for baseball right now, and if they host an NCAA regional,
please somebody reach that to Dan McDonald and let him answer it from Louisville. Please let him. Please let him say, hey, Coach, for the last 2 weekends, you can have full capacity, but then when you host your regional, 50%. I'd like to know his reaction. M-O-R-O-N-S. What's that spell?
Morons. Morons.
Great show today. Appreciate the calls, reminiscing about the Huntsville Stars. Really great guest, Kayla Braud and Patrick Murphy talking SEC softball tournament.
I'm just glad you got the code right to get upstairs this morning.
I almost didn't get here. we tried 3 codes, finally got in. We appreciate that. But, what we go through, we're
30.
resilient like the Alabama softball team. We get up there. We get the job done.
And we do not do shows at half capacity.
No,
we were
do
full
not.
on attendance.
And we know how to spell morons.
All right, guys.
NCAA. Anyway.
Hey,
Hey, let's go
10
Chargers. Beat Delta
Yes,
State.
11 o'clock today, UAH Delta State from Oxford. Come on, Hunter Royer. Grady, the Bat Boy. Hopefully he's
Nazar
there.
and Chad Guathney at 10.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as